The A section of this steel guitar lick, or this little intro that we're working on, is I'm going to actually go to the 5th fret. And here, of course, is your A bar chord, or your, you can use this major form here. Also, you can look at it this way too. If you use your first finger here and play your A chord like this, some people play it like that. I play it like this, and with one finger. And you can actually bar your pinky over the 5th fret. Give another little A chord voicing that's kind of different. Because that's really just all root and 5th, so it's more of a bar chord sound. It doesn't have a 3rd degree. But anyway, where my pinky is at the 5th degree, or at the 5th fret, is where we're going to do our first a steel bend right here. So it'll sound more like the steel guitar type thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pinky on the A note on the 1st string, my 3rd finger on the E note on the 2nd string, and I'm going to bend this up and then release it. Now in the basic section, we've done some of this stuff where we've got some exercises that help enhance this and help you with your intonation and your accuracy of your bends. If you're having trouble with bends, you may want to refer to that section. There's a bunch of stuff to kind of work through exercise-wise there. This, I'm using my 1st, 2nd, and 3rd finger on the B string to help push that 2nd string up. And this, I'm looking at this, even though I'm basing it around this chord, I want to let you know that there's an A major scale here. So that's also on play there. And so we do the bend. Then we skip down to the G string at the 4th fret with the 3rd finger. And just kind of make it sound slinky. And, you're not adding a whole lot, it's just a single note bend, but putting different kind of vibratos on it, or so you find your liking to what kind of sound that sounds best to you. You might stop it quick, but any of those kind of different dynamic things will work. So then after that, we're going to jump back up to, now of course this bend, if you want to reference that, we're also still in this A major scale area here, but this bend also works in the A major kind of blues pentatonic thing we've been over before. So that's all right in there. Okay, so just as a reference point, I try to put reference points on everything because when you're playing live, you don't have a whole lot of time necessarily to think about all the different kind of notes that are in scales and what kind of scale you're playing. You want to get away from that so that you can play a little more freely and you're more comfortable playing melodic ideas. So I try and base things around reference points that are a little easy to kind of understand without having to think too much about the details of the notes and everything that are in there. But you should know the notes, that's important too. Okay, so after we've done this lick, we're going to jump back up to the 5th fret. We're going to do something that steel guitars do a lot in a lot of tunes. They use a suspended kind of thing. Or you can actually add your 3rd finger and your pinky, which still gives you the sus sound, or the suspended sound, but it adds a little bit more color to it. So you have two options there really to kind of mess with. And if you do the actual 3rd and 4th finger here, you're actually playing from an A chord to a D chord. So that's A to a D, back to A. And how I'm doing that is I'm leaving my 2nd finger at the 6th fret. My 1st finger is barred over the B and E strings. and I leave them there, and then I actually kind of hammer my 3rd and 4th finger on the G and B strings at the 7th fret. Meanwhile, I'm still playing that top string. Okay? So that's the A section, or part of the A section. Then we're going to do a classic kind of staple steel guitar lick that you'll hear it in just billions of songs, but in the key of A, it works real well for guitar too. So it sounds like this. And how I'm doing that is I'm actually, now I'm back in that kind of A major position, and I'm going to borrow notes from, I'm going to use notes from the A major scale to create this next idea. But I'm going to start at the 5th degree, which would be E at the 2nd fret on the D string. You might think of this chord here as kind of reference. Alright, and so what I'm doing is I'm going to take the E note with my 1st finger. And now I want the sound of this to sound real legato. A lot of steel guitars and a lot of the lap steels and things like that, the guys really ring all the notes together sometimes to get this really kind of really deep, lush kind of chord sound. And so if you're imitating that or trying to imitate that sound, you want to use a lot of legato for certain ideas too, as well as the staccato thing we talked about earlier. So this would be like, for example, so I'm kind of hammering these notes. So for example, I'm going E to F sharp, that particular type of little rhythm there. Then I'm going to hit 2 open strings. So I'm going E to F sharp, then I'm going from G sharp at the 1st fret on the G string to the A note, the root note. Then I'm going to play the open B string, then the open E string. So you get that kind of a real lush sounding open ringy chord thing, right? Right, and then I'm going to go to the 4th fret where we were before, and I'm going to bend this B note on the G string up to C sharp. And when I bend it to C sharp, I'm going to keep those open strings, the B and the E string, hopefully ringing at the same time. This can be challenging, and it takes a little bit of practice because you got a lot going on. To keep that note, from getting sour, and to be able to curve your fingers in such a way that you can leave the B and the E string kind of open there. So that would be the A section there. So it goes. Right hand technique for the A section. Starting with the steel guitar bend at the 5th fret. I use my 2nd and 3rd fingers to claw that. I mean, you can pick it if you wanted to. It just sounds better to me. If you don't want to have long fingernails, you could just use your pick, or maybe you can use the soft part of your finger or whatever to do that with. But then when I go to the bend at the 4th fret, I pick that. Then when I go back to the 5th fret to do the A to the D kind of suspended chord thing, I'm actually going to use my pick, my 2nd finger, and my 3rd finger. And then for the open kind of steel lick and the A major scale, I pick So I picked the first 4 notes, I guess, or the hammer. So I picked the first, the E, and then the G sharp. And then I kind of roll my second and third finger to catch those open strings. Now you don't have to do it that way. You could do it like, if you want to grab with your second finger, you could do that. Or you could just pick the whole thing. Then when I do the bend, I actually just grab all 3 strings, pick on the 3rd string, second and third fingers on the second and first string, and bend the note.